Hello everyone, today we're discussing some good news. Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, has proposed the creation of a League of Free Nations. This is supposed to be a complete alternative to the United Nations, which we'll discuss now. Which countries? At first, he envisions Argentina, the United States, Italy, and Israel as the founding members. So, no leftists at all. This organization is meant to replace the United Nations. What is the United Nations? The United Nations is, in its purest form, a kingdom of bureaucracy. These are the people who spend their days shuffling papers, drinking coffee, have a super bloated staff with representatives traveling all over the world, staying in luxury hotels, and getting high travel allowances. In short, this organization is now powerless, makes no decisions, does nothing, and wastes money as the world nears collapse. Who benefits from this? Of course, it's all beneficial to the leftists. They're satisfied with this state of affairs, meaning the leftists led by Soros, and of course dictators like Putin, like Xi Jinping and all that company. But Putin, as a nuclear power, can block certain things, can create chaos like in Ukraine, attack with impunity, and China can support all of this. Do you understand how this happens? People like Trump and Javier Milei bring this to an end. Let's think about this main question for us. Can someone be a member of such an organization, or maybe, God willing, even a co-founder? Ukraine. The answer is no. Zelensky, Ukraine cannot be like that. Why? Because Zelensky is a dictator, because Ukraine is now a pure autocracy, Ukraine is now an authoritarian state. Under the leadership of Zelensky and Yermak, new leaders are now emerging in the world, the so-called leaders of the free world led by Donald Trump. Of course, Javier Milei joins them, who was basically the first. Of course, there's Giorgia Meloni, of course, there's Netanyahu. I'm sure Nayib Bukele will be there, but in such a lineup, there's no place for us, although we could end up there. If Ukraine is led by a leader who holds libertarian views, that is, a person who embraces the values of the free world, European Union, NATO, UN. Let me tell you right away, the European Union will be the first to fall apart. It's already on its last legs. And as we've seen, NATO is also a completely bureaucratic and absolutely ineffective structure. New alliances will form as everything falls apart. And the first of these is emerging. You should pay attention to this news. I recommend learning about this, as it's where the future lies. And if the dictator Putin keeps coming out and saying that the world order is changing, that there will no longer be a unipolar world, I agree. The world order is changing, it's dying out, just like dictatorship. Few dictators remain, but some strong ones still exist. You could list them in the Red Book. And the Soros supporters, these leftists, globalists who are basically destroying the whole planet. In reality, they seem like men on different sides of the barricades, but actually, like in the horseshoe theory, it's basically almost the same thing and very similar. And I urge you to join me, to be with me on the completely opposite side of the barricades, on the right side, on the same side, with people for whom the values of Western civilization, specifically the values it was built on, are at the forefront, with the leaders of the true free world against bureaucracy, dictators, and authoritarianism. In this context, the key issue is what actions to take in Ukraine and whether we can be there. Don't tell me there's a war going on in Ukraine, my dear friends. Zelensky has been the president of Ukraine since 2019. In 2019, there was no war. He had 3 years. If he's such a mega reformer to turn Ukraine into a candy, he's been running Ukraine for almost 6 years now, and in 6 years, he hasn't even carried out 5 reforms. In Argentina, Trump hasn't given up his position in 10 months. I regularly update you on my Telegram channel and encourage you to subscribe both here and on Telegram. The link is in the description. About the reforms that Trump is preparing, often everything is prepared in documentary form. As soon as he takes office after the inauguration, he will start signing all of it. Namely, this is about lowering taxes and, most importantly, reducing the size of the government bureaucracy. I already made a detailed video for you about the RAIN, the department, and the podcast with Oleg Pritula, so I'm telling you about it now. This is what the future holds. No bureaucracy, no officials, no government pressure, no government interference in people's lives, especially in the economy, no government interference in people's freedoms. This is completely different from what Putin and Xi Jinping and people like them envision, and from what Soros proposes with his imposition of a world order. Does NATO, the European Union, certain countries, or the Biden administration want Ukraine to exist? Ukraine, you keep fighting as we enjoy peace in our comfortable countries. Ukraine, lower the conscription age. Other countries will decide for us, but the main thing is that here they have every right to do so. I don't blame them in terms of their well-being. They're doing great. They're actually doing what's best for their countries. They found a fool, Zelensky, who will try to fight with Russia on his own, of course, purely for the sake of holding on to power. If he were fighting for this, to be in the League of Free Nations, I would be the first to support him. If he were fighting against bureaucracy and building a country like the one I just described to you, I would be the first to support him. But instead, he came and led this terrible, corrupt system, and moreover, he made it 10 times worse than it was before. And basically, during the war, Zelensky turned Ukraine into a corrupt cesspool where there are no human rights at all. And of course, there is no place for us among such innovative people. And something else surprises me. I don't expect anything from officials, from the corrupt ones who are everywhere under Zelensky, just like they were before him. I'm not saying that he did this himself, he just came and took it to an incredible scale. Basically, he ruined our country. It wasn't the people of Ukraine, it wasn't the army, it was him who ruined it. Putin attacked and gave him great cover. Wartime destroys everything and causes looting. People, there's no hope in them. This video is for you, not them. You must know how to distinguish good from evil. Our future depends on it, and we could have achieved it. If you had chosen, or at least allowed other ideas to run, ideas specifically, but you keep falling in love with personalities, with certain last names, that manager, that general, that clown, or someone else. Ideas. Listen to what the person is offering you, what kind of Ukraine he wants to build. I recorded a video about this podcast with Joe Rogan. The candidates you like, Zelensky, Poroshenko, and Paka, aren't capable. Maybe I'll change my mind? Zaluzhny should be on the podcast. I'm inviting them specifically to spend 2-3 hours and have a real substantive conversation to show people what they're actually voting for. And in general, what kind of Ukraine. Nothing extra, no agenda or anything like that, but what kind of future Ukraine do you see? What kind do you want to build? I have that clearly defined for myself. Thanks to social media, all proposed reforms are on my YouTube channel. More details will come later, but the main ideas are already there. I promoted Trump to you, I promoted Milei to you, I promoted Nayib Bukele to you. All the people who bring innovations to the world, who are against bureaucracy, and instead, as I say, they keep giving you the same old thing. Even the new so-called opposition leaders keep giving you the same old thing. Zhiguli, yes. Painted Zhiguli, yes. Polished Zhiguli. But still Zhiguli, that same old stinky Zhiguli. I'm not offering something new, and neither I, Milei, nor Trump are the authors. Western civilization was built on all this. Then Soros used his influence to corrupt the world, while dictators like Putin exist on the other side. We must take a new path, separate from the first two, to join the free world and Western civilization. If we don't join something like this, then Ukraine has no future. Remember this, and send this video to your friends and acquaintances. I'm waiting for your comments, please. I'm ready to hear your thoughts. I'm curious if there will be even one person who will say that all of this is wrong with arguments, and that somewhere else it's right, that the United Nations is good, that it's good to dance to someone else's tune. Well, of course, racists will jump in and say, we don't have a dictatorship in Russia, you're telling it all wrong, Putin is good. I'm not even interested in that. No need to try, just leave this channel now. I aim to attract people interested in all of this, specifically within the context of Ukraine. For those who haven't seen it, I want to show you how Javier acted at the recent G20 summit. The host side was led by the dictator Dudu Brazil, and Milei was just following formalities. While other so-called leaders, now called the free world, though they no longer represent it, were embracing dictators. We should avoid that.
Subtitles by Dimatorzok.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and leave a comment. See you.